Voices from the Mausoleum is brought to you by the You Run Podcast Network and yourunpodcast.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome to the episode of Found Footage Fridays.
Hello, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. There's a pause because I was like, what's next? I just forgot how to intro for a second. It was like not computing. I don't know.
I do here.
I'm like, and then what happened?
Well, they have so many other little things too that we put at the beginning. Sometimes I forget how many are there. It's just the one thing.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. We're off to a great start. Yeah, so we're back from the episode of Found Footage Fridays. We have a brand new one to talk about today, right? Didn't it just come out this year?
Brand new release. I think it's 2024, yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it's called a horror comedy. Okay. Maybe
that makes sense for you.
Kind of, at least for the disdain. So today we're talking about the 2024 found footage movie Dagr. Fame-seeking YouTubers find themselves in a paranormal nightmare when the advert team they are stealing from awakens a murderous occultist from the past.
Yeah.
Horror comedy.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was dry humor though. It wasn't like hardy har funny.
I didn't get any humor out of it.
It was a lot of the things that the girls were saying to each other. I had a nice little chuckle at. It was like some of the back and forth stuff in the car. I was like, oh, that's kind of dry humor. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I guess. But like enough to call it a horror comedy?
No, I don't.
That seems weird, right? I wouldn't have categorized it that way, I guess.
No, because it really isn't a comedy.
No.
Because it's not like in the way like Evil Dead would be, or or Scream. Like there's like jokes there, but it's not like more than any horror film would have, just to like
in general,
just have something funny that a character says, right? I mean, like, it really wasn't like very funny.
No, I hate to start it this way, right? But I feel like I need to be honest. For the most part, if I don't like a movie and I have to watch it for content, I will just suffer. I did not finish this one. I got so bored and so frustrated by it that I did eventually DNF it, and I cut it off. I was well into an hour into this movie. And right now, I think the only way to watch it is if you rent it. So that was super annoying too. But so I did pay to get a movie that I couldn't even finish watching it. I'm in this space now in general with movies where I'm like, if it does not, if it doesn't serve you, I really struggled with this one because it's, found footage formula, right, is normally like really, really slow beginning. It's a lot of setup. And then at the end, it's boom, boom, boom. And it does follow that formula. But the storyline, I just didn't care about. Like, it just couldn't keep me engaged. And so, I wasn't able to finish this one. I did get most of the way through it. So you'll have to tell me how it ends when we get to spoilers. But I just couldn't get through this one. I was so overwhelmingly annoyed with the fact that I didn't even at least like it that I was like, I'm just not even going to bother. And I cut it off.
So is your rating just going to be DNF?
I think that's probably fair, right? I don't think it's fair for me to rate a film I didn't finish, probably.
Right? Yeah. I think that's fair. That's just like, the ultimate, pass.
Yeah. And here's the thing, right? Like, it's not an American found footage.
It's British.
Which is usually like a yes, right? Because other countries just do horror better than we do. And it as a general rule. And so, I was really pumped about that because I love getting found footage and watching found footage that's done in other countries. But this one really missed the mark for me. So I think that's a fair point. I think I won't rate it when we get to that section. I'll just put your tape up and you can rate it since you did it all the way through. I know.
That's fine. I think, my husband's a lot like that. If he's not enjoying something, he's just going to check out. And I think
usually force it. I just can't right now.
Because we're also not just, on this channel, obviously we give our opinions, we rate things, but we're not just movie reviewers on this channel. We're like this is an entertainment show, you know, and
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about
we're
the things
fans of the
we're
genre.
fans, and it's not, you know, we're not here like, you know, Ebert and I don't know, I forget their names, but
Whatever.
whatever their names are, those two dudes. I'm like Roger and Ebert. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. When you said Roger, I thought it was Roger Hammerstein's, and then I thought Cinderella, so I don't
I'm,
know. My
I don't.
brain just
Whenever I say them, I can only think of the two old Muppets,
I was just gonna say the same
Waldorf and Statler.
thing. Yes, because that's who they are. Yes, perfect, love it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. We are watching it for entertainment. And I think the other problem is too is when you do reviews and you do content and you watch a lot of stuff specifically for content, not just on a whim. Some stuff that we talk about is on a whim or we
Mhm.
just really are interested in it. But with this one, it was, oh, it's a newer found footage. We should probably cover it. And whenever I worry about forcing myself through those experiences, because then I'm gonna lose the excitement for the subgenre
Yeah,
or for the genre. And I don't want to do that because burnout is a very real thing in content creating. So
sure, sure. So I
yeah.
think that's fair. I mean, I think from, you know, from a perspective, you know, I did finish it. You know, I was definitely the first like for me, I felt the slog for like the first like 45 minutes. And then once like the two storylines merged in the middle and like the chaos happened, um I was like, all right, I gotta be this far. Now I have to see how you know, I'm very much that
Yeah, yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
reviewer. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, crap's hitting the fan. I have to now I just have to know how it ends.
Sure. Fair enough.
But I
Yeah.
think probably what led to your kind of ugh, with the because it's slow in the beginning, and we don't really get a lot of character development in the beginning or a lot of like information about the characters other than you know it's these two girls who
Hmm.
they're this isn't a spoiler because this is right off the hop. Their
Yeah.
whole shtick on YouTube is that they go into places, they pretty much steal from the rich and give to the needy. It's like this whole thing. They like have heist stuff. They go
Yeah.
in, steal things, sell it, and then give it to charity. And like
Yeah.
that's like their thing. And they, you know,
See,
on the
I didn't
video.
even remember the charity part. So you got way more out of that than I did.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So
I thought they were just little shits and they were just like stealing because there's well, never mind. This is
no,
spoiler,
no, no.
but
So like they can so in when they're in the car on the way to
yes,
the
the
house, they're like
location.
and they're like on the camera, they say, "Oh, don't worry, everything we steal from the set, we're gonna
I
donate
missed it. I
to."
bet I was looking at my phone because I was
Yeah,
bored. I'm
yeah.
sorry. I
So that's like
know.
the whole thing. They're sort of like YouTube, like Robin Hoods. Um,
Yeah.
so but other
Very
than
over
that,
the top.
very over the top. But other than that, though, we don't really get like why are they doing it? We got a
Mhm.
little of the like they're funny, like you could tell that they're friends, but
They're
like
but they do have really good chemistry.
there's
I would
good
agree with that.
chemistry. I think the
Yeah.
performances are generally good in this movie.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the performances. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but I just feel like as far as like the character stories weren't all that interesting, and we didn't. So then the setup here is that they're gonna go rob from this like commercial shoot happening at like a posh like I think they're in Wales, so I think it's like a Welsh estate.
Yeah, that's right.
Um, and so it's like this posh commercial video shoot, you know, thing. And so that storyline is happening, but then we don't really get much with those people, like the actors and the you know, so like there's not a
For
lot of
the
character
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
development. So there's not a lot of good story per se.
Yeah.
So like it's hard to get that buy-in, you know.
Yeah, and I think it is easier to connect to the first two, the friends.
Yeah.
The conversations and stuff between the crew, and I guess eventually what, like the actors, which is part of the crew, but like in a
Mhm.
different way, like those conversations were just kind of like,
I feel like they
I
were
don't
like
know.
AI.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So here's the thing, like I think it looks fine. It
It's a well
follows
shot movie.
it follows the rules. I got no problem with that.
Mhm.
The premise is solid, the acting was fine, but it's the steps to get us through the storyline, the writing for those is just like it just wasn't there for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean this because like there really wasn't much of a story happening with the crew. It was like they're having this thing where like, oh, you know, how do we do intimacy in this scene? And then it was like, let's do this shot, do this shot. oh, we need coffee, go out get coffee. There really wasn't a
It
lot of like a story happening with them, you
Yeah, it
know?
was almost like you were reading the outline of a script that was going to be written.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It didn't feel
and
like
that
there was any conflict, there wasn't any motivation
it
happening.
was weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I guess what do you rate I'm not gonna rate because I don't think that's fair. So what do you rate this film?
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be a great score. I'm gonna give it a 6. It's
That Steve, a 6?
I guess I guess it's good and alright, alright. I guess
I'm
it's
sorry. No, 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 no. If it's a 6, it's a 6. It's like
5
it's
for me is bad, and I know that's, like,
see,
middle.
5 is like middle ground though. There are found footage movies I've given 5s that I would rewatch.
Then I should give it a 5. In my head, I'm like, "Change you're making me
I
change my
didn't
score."
mean
I don't know. I
I'm
guess
not
it
trying
depends
to
on how
change your
you
mind, I promise. I just 6 feels very high, but
6
you're the nice one, and I'm the one that's
I'm
like, "I
very much
hated
the
it."
nice one. No, you're nice too. Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
can I get that in
I
writing?
I think I just sometimes I feel bad giving bad scores. And I don't know why. I shouldn't feel bad. The whole point is we're having a conversation to rate these movies.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I get what
and
you
I
say.
because
Well,
I
especially
in
when
my
you know
head,
it's not like a big budget, right? Like when you know it's like, especially because we're such big advocates for the indie horror community, especially the filmmakers and the
yeah.
writers and stuff. And so it is harder, but I think filmmakers can only grow if they're open to feedback from multiple
No,
reviewers. I
it's
mean,
true.
if you're only watching reviewers where they're like 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, then there's nothing to gain from that as a
Yeah.
writer. Like like if I were a filmmaker, of course you want 10 out of 10s, but you also have to be prepared to take. And I also think we're super respectful when we don't like something. It's never just like this, you know, shit show
Yeah,
where we're
like,
just like,
hang up your hat, retire, you suck. We never
put
say
this
stuff like
movie in
that.
the trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing like that.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think because it definitely loses. I think losing 4 points on writing and character development is a pretty huge hit. I think for me, the
Sure.
6 is I think some of the special effects were actually okay, given that it was an indie film.
Yeah.
It was beautifully cinematography, um, atmosphere, art
Yeah,
direction.
that's the unfortunate part. I do think all of that was good.
Right. So I think like that is enough where it was like, all right, just the right. If I'm gonna hit it on one thing, I can't take away too many points.
Sure.
If the
And
majority of everything else is okay.
yeah, but the problem is for me is the effects were just okay. Because like that oh, never mind, we're not in spoilers. There's a
Yeah.
specific scene that happened and I was like,
We'll get to this point. Yeah.
we'll get to there. We're almost there. But yeah, I think that because here's what's true, and I say this a lot, and I'm sure people are like, "Yeah, okay," but it's the truth. I would definitely watch something else by this filmmaker because they already have shown they have the technical skills, right?
Mhm.
It's really just the creative side that really needs to be shown more. And maybe I didn't look into this. I don't know if this is their first film, maybe it's their first feature length,
Oh,
maybe it's their first found footage because that matters. That matters.
it does.
But
It does. I'm gonna go on IMDb and look.
I would say though, if this was they've shown what they can do and maybe
Mhm.
the creative side was limited because it was a first. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I would definitely if you said, "Hey Angel, that filmmaker that did Dagger is doing another found footage movie," I would watch it. It's not like I would just be like, "Oh god, never again."
Right. No, you're right. I think it's mostly shorts. This is the director's first
Okay, so
feature
see, that's a big deal. And so and
or
that's what I'm
second feature.
saying that
Maybe
is
second
there
feature.
two? Like, there's always like when we interviewed Jake, like the difference between Wendigo and Children of the Corn
JoJo of the Woods.
Woods. Corn. Why did I say corn? You know how many
Because,
times I almost said that when we were talking about it with him? I was like, Angel, do not say that. Children of the Woods, don't listen to me. Y'all know because y'all have already watched the interview and you're huge fans and you follow him on Instagram. But Jake's growth as a filmmaker,
yeah.
that you heard him talk about it. It comes from feedback. It comes from people working with him and being collaborative and telling him these things. So anyway, I'm done
No,
with that. But we
absolutely.
can um we can jump into spoilers if you want to and talk a little bit more about some of the scenes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The one part I was impressed with, that I really liked,
Yeah.
just as far as like a scare or like just a horror moment, was when the director, she finds the actor floating. Did you see? Did you
Yeah.
watch
That
that
was
part?
good. Yeah.
I like that part. It was like the crow feathers and
That was
like
good.
the blood. I thought it was like really cool.
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, some of the special effects, like you said, were a little like
This
um
Yeah, the scene
static
I'm
and
talking
stuff.
about is where the hooded thing just, like, shoots up on the screen.
Oh,
Like,
we're
when
kind
they
of.
first watch the video,
Oh,
like, when
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is early on, that you see the door closing behind
Mhm.
them, they don't notice it, and they're watching the footage,
Oh, yeah, and then
and
they
then that
can't see it
thing
again.
goes whoosh up at the screen or whatever, and then they can't see it again, it goes away or whatever.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
I thought that was a little meh, like, it was
Yeah, because it was a little, I guess maybe it was 2 videos maybe put together. It didn't look like the cloaked figure was in the space where they filmed it, so
no.
it looked a little weird.
It looked faked, I
Yeah,
think. It
yeah.
didn't look very convincing.
I think a
But
better
yeah,
way
the
to do that
feathers.
was. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was gonna agree with you. But the other thing with the floating, I did like that. That was well done, I think.
Yeah, well, it was
Yeah,
practical, right? I mean, it
more
looked like it was
practical.
so it's gonna look
Yeah.
better, right?
Yes.
Um
Well, oh yeah, always.
Yeah, so with I
Yeah,
think with the cloaked one though, like if they had the cloaked figure sort of like in the space, like back where the actors were, and maybe it was just sort of creepy walking around. There was like different ways they could have done it, where it wasn't like, you
they
know,
could have had it like the people gone, and they could have had it in the distance, just out of sight,
yeah,
and then closer, and then one more glitch, and it could have been close, and then the screen cut
and
off.
that was it.
But that would have been relatively easy to do because those would have been stills.
Exactly.
So it would have been easier to edit, like we're professionals. But you know what I'm saying? Like I think
Yeah. Then I'm like it's
logically,
sort of this like it had like this like superimposed sort
yes,
of like
it takes you out of it when that stuff
look.
is like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But,
Um,
I mean, other than that, I mean, like, the sound design was creepy. I sort of liked the chanting they incorporated. I liked,
yeah,
they didn't go too hard into the Celtic Druidic lore.
yeah,
I would have loved a little bit more. You don't have to explain everything, but
sure,
it was like a sprinkling, whereas, and I feel like they could have probably went a little bit more into it.
yeah.
Because you get this brief moment towards the end. So so the actress stabs the camera guy,
Mhm.
um, and he's dead. His body gets sort of like dragged off. Um,
I didn't think that part was super convincing either.
when she stabs him,
When she just like walks up with the
yeah,
knife
I
out
couldn't
and
tell
just
if it
sort of
was like she was possessed and did it, or like
yeah, but
the spirit pushed her. You know what I mean?
either way, it looked like she like in the moment was like I don't want to like do this. Like it looked very like like not hesitant, like resistant, but like do I do it now? Like that kind of hesitant
Ye-
where you're like I don't
Yeah,
know, is it my what's the mark here,
it was
right?
like
Like
choreographed weird.
yeah, it was it was not a fluid motion when she stabbed him.
No, and
It
you
felt
couldn't.
very jarring to be for it was like a stutter almost. I don't know.
It did, I know, I noticed that, and I was like, and I could, yeah, and it was a bit of a chin scratcher. I was like, I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, it was choreographed very weird.
Yes. Mhm.
But yeah, so then the actor,
Mhm.
he gets killed at some point. He gets like beaten up in a room. He gets thrown out of the room.
Yeah.
And then because then you probably didn't see this part. So the actress and the director, they're hiding up in the bedroom. A TV turns on, and it was like video of someone who stayed there in the 90s, and he was researching.
I did see
Um,
that. That's the one where they were going back, like saying about that's right before, right. Or I stopped watching it right after that. So I did see that part with the TV.
so you saw the actress like jump out the window.
No,
Okay, so
but I
the actress
saw the
like jumps up.
TV come on, and the guy from the '90s. He's talking about like the history of
Yes.
the. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. I saw that part. I didn't see her jump out the window.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he's talking about that, and then like that ends, and then she's sort of like because then he mentions like the standing stone, like all the sacrifices and stuff,
Mhm.
and then she is either jumps or is thrown out the window. and she dies, and so it's the director that's left. And that's when the girls find the live stream of the director up in the bedroom, and then they all meet. Or the blonde girl disappears, then the other girl meets the director,
Hmm.
and then we find out the blonde girl's dead, or taken. She's taken at that point. And then they do this whole run through the woods thing. But then it just gets into sort of the typical maze, like they're the shaky cam running around, cloak figure, blah blah blah. And
Yeah.
then the director dies, and then the other girl dies, and then it's left with the blonde girl tied to a tree for a sacrifice,
Okay.
and that's pretty much it. So yeah, and then and I don't think there was. Then they do the kind of bodies were found. There's like a quick shot of like people like it's the girl that goes out to get coffee finally comes back.
Oh
And
my
she's like,
God.
and then she's like, hello. And that was like the credit scene. And so she's like,
Mhm.
hello. And then like you hear like a gasp or a scream, and then it ends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then that's it. Yeah, I mean, like, and yeah, there's not else too much else to say. I think it's just goes back to again the writing. I just wish the characters had a little bit more to do as far as like what's the character story. It's not enough just to have a horror story. You have to have
Yeah.
a little bit of
And
what.
and it's weird to have that much time with them and
Yeah,
not have anything about them really, right? Like
yeah. Well,
it's
I don't know what the actors wanted. I don't know what the director really wanted, but they were like sort of just their
it's
motivation was to make the get the shoot. And they're like, all right, so they're just doing their
and then
job.
there's that like weird conversation between the actors when they're playing like chess and she tells her like, "Oh, like you'll have like a tear or something." And she's like, "Why? That's not very feminist. That's not very." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, they're like, that's not very empowering or something. And she's like, you're just like over, you're
She's like, "You're not
overwhelmed with
crying
feelings.
because you lost." She's like trying, and then the whole time, like they're talking, or like the whole time they're telling her all these things, the director's like, she, she's just kind of like, "Whatever you say," like and she looks like she's
I mean,
about to
if the
snap.
conflict is like we're working with like really annoying actors and there was like a little bit of conflict
But there's
here,
no details about it or like
no.
where they hint at it. They do talk about the what was it the guy says when they're like doing the opening shots of the house. He's like, "Oh, if you do anything with water, she's going to say no. Like she won't do anything with water." But the problem is they put like I said, it's like reading an outline. They put these little notes for you, but there's
Yeah.
not enough follow through to flesh it out. So then it ends up just being like why
Yeah.
why is this a big deal? First of all, if it's for perfume, the weirder the better, right? So like what's the ad even for? I don't even remember. Like it's who cares? Like just be weird and just take your stupid black and white pictures. Like, I don't it was crazy. I
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing is like you could tell they wanted to tell a story about like these actors sort of being annoying and then the crew having to deal with them and like that could have been
yeah.
honestly if you wanted to go with horror comedy, you probably could have had some really funny stuff with that dynamic.
I was thinking the same thing because there's always that big joke about how weird commercials are sometimes and like
Yeah,
how like they never make any sense or they never equate to like whatever they're supposed to be selling. Like there
exactly.
really would have been a lot of humor in that. Like
Yeah,
could have
they
been
didn't commit to
it could
that.
have been very meta. Like they definitely could have gone a different angle with that part of it for sure.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there was unfortunately I think this movie has just had a lot of missed opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah, which is but there's enough rooted there, that's why I say, and I mean, I would watch something else by this team, like, I 100% would,
Yeah.
and I think that they would make a phenomenal found footage movie, like, just given the way like I said, the like we talked about the way that it's shot, the atmosphere, the locations, everything, like, the framing of specific shots, like, I think they have what it takes to
Yeah.
make something that could be a 10 out of 10, but yeah, but this one was rough. And I love the poster for this. I was like, okay. And
Yeah.
but yeah, it just missed the mark for me, unfortunately. So
I don't see any
upcoming.
I see upcoming, but not a lot of nothing upcoming horror. But I do see
Oh,
one a comedy that I'm very yeah, I guess the director is
oh.
gonna work on something called Drag Heist. A troupe of drag queens help a young family take revenge on the banker that ruined their lives.
I would watch that.
I said, yeah,
That sounds like a riot.
drag queen heist movie. I'm into that.
Yeah. But yeah, so,
Yeah.
you know,
But that's yeah, that's all I got to say.
yeah. Has anyone watching seen Dagger? Had you even heard of it? Let us know in the comments if you agree, disagree, somewhere in between. Let us know what you think. And yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like, I wanted it to be so good. Like, whenever there's like a brand new found footage movie, I'm like, yes, and
Yeah.
I want it to be so good. But they just normally aren't. And it's so like,
No.
you know,
I will say, at least I think these YouTubers were much more palatable than Dashcam.
don't get me started
I know
on
we
that.
won't go down that rabbit hole, but you know what I mean.
I
We're
just
gonna have
did a review on Host with Scott from You Run.
oh yeah,
And it came up and he was like, we're not we both were just like, not even gonna talk about it. Like, yes, what a
I know.
dumpster fire. Anyway, but yes. No, I genuinely would watch something else by this filmmaker. And I hope genuinely that they do explore more found footage stuff, because a lot of what has failed for me lately with found footage hasn't been the story. It's been the technical stuff. So to have the people that know what they're doing on that side of it, we really just need like the really great story to kind of
Right,
drive
right. It
that
doesn't have to
home.
be one or the other, right? We can kind of work on the both.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. So anyway, well, if you know of any other new found footage movies, please let us know. If you have a found footage rec or a movie you would like us to cover, let us know. It'll make our
Yeah,
job much easier, because then we don't have to scour the internet trying to find stuff to
I
watch.
know. I have like a running list on IMDb every time like there's new things popping up of
Oh
found
yeah,
footage. So
yeah.
I just keep updating or like refreshing it as new things come in. But we miss things because not everything goes up on there right away.
No,
Or
100% it doesn't, and especially the smaller films, the smaller
right,
budgets, the indie films.
100%. Like the smaller indie
Um,
projects don't always. Yeah.
yeah, no, for sure. And then, but I am very excited about the one we're talking about next week.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
it's one I've been wanting to cover for a while, and I'm very excited that we both got an opportunity. I revisited it, you got to watch it, and
It was
we
the
talked
first one. Yeah.
it out. And so next Friday we'll be talking about the Maroi tape, or damn it, the
Roy
Maroi video.
Video.
Video. I keep saying tape. Video, whatever. The title on the video will be correct. That's all that matters. It won't. Steve, I swear to you, it'll go up next Friday and be tapes or
I'll have to be
whenever
like,
it is.
I'll have to fix it and be like, you know what you did?
Send me a picture first and then send me an angry face. But anyway, so if you're interested in watching it, it is only available on Apple TV. Was it still there?
Still on Apple TV. It's funny enough, it's cheaper to buy than to rent
Yeah.
for some bizarre reason. So now I
I
just own it.
I found like a website to watch it on. Maybe if I remember, I'll put the link in the description, because I do think it's so good. I will say this: it's worth the rental. Spoiler alert, But anyway, so we'll be talking about the Maroi video next week. And as always, we have found footage merch. So
Yes.
if you want found footage gear, stickers, cups, bags, there's even a pillow for your couch or your bed. The link's in the description for that as well. So anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on this episode of Found Footage Fridays. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend, a great week coming up, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.